These amazing snow globes capture the fantasy of make-believe worlds. Creative, magical, and relaxing. Here are the top 15 most amazing snow globes and hourglasses. Number 15. The Giant Lego Snow Globe. Lego bricks are designed in a way that there is no limit to what you can build with a little imagination, and master builders are continually coming up with new designs to push the limits of what's possible. In 2013, residents of London were treated to a display that showed quite what's possible when Duncan Titmarsh revealed what was, at the time, the largest snow globe in the world. At more than 10 feet tall, the plastic dome contained 14 of the city's major landmarks, including Big Ben, the London Eye, and the Globe Theatre, each of which had been meticulously recreated using the building bricks. It took 75 days of work and 120,000 individual bricks to create, and was positioned in Piccadilly Circus, one of the busiest thoroughfares in London. Since then, he's also built the largest ever Lego Christmas tree and a giant advent calendar, but has admitted that the snow globe was his favorite, and is something that he hopes to have the opportunity to do again at some point in the future. Number 14. The Clock of Flowing Time. The Berlin Europa Center is a building that's long been part of the city skyline, and although it was initially intended for use as residential apartments, it's now home to a huge shopping mall. With so many people passing through each day, the owners wanted a one-of-a-kind piece of artwork to draw their attention, and the result was the Clock of Flowing Time. Created by the French artist Bernard Guiton, it's a 42.5-foot tall water clock that stands 3 floors high. Installed in 1982, the glass spheres of the structure are slowly filled up by colored water to denote the time, and the whole thing empties and restarts every 12 hours. There's no electricity involved in its operation, and the flow of water through the complex series of tubes, pipes, and bowls is controlled by a large pendulum that swings at the lower half of the clock. It is an ingenious design, and has become one of the most popular hourglass installations in the world. Number 13. Halloween Snow Globe. Snow globes are usually associated with Christmas, mainly because that's traditionally the time of year that most of us think of a snow-covered landscape. But it's not the only holiday that's got in on the action. In a curious example of how movies will cash in on any merchandising opportunity that comes their way, and in 1998, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the first film in the franchise, a limited edition Halloween snow globe was released. The figures inside the globe depict a moment during their third act when Myers attacks Laurie Strode, and at the time was the only piece of memorabilia which featured that particular victim. Fittingly, instead of churning up particles of snow when you shake it, this snow globe is full of crimson-colored glitter blood to help reminisce about her unfortunate fate. While at the time this was seen as a gimmick that was bundled with a VHS release, this snow globe has now become highly sought after among collectors, and despite retailing for just $29.99 at the time, it's now worth many times that amount. Number 12. Nima Sand Museum Hourglass. The Nima Sand Museum in Oda, Japan was opened in 1991 to celebrate the strange properties of the sand found on the nearby beaches, which is said to sing. Featuring 6 large glass pyramids, it exhibits a number of artworks that have been made with the sand by local artists and has become somewhat of an unusual tourist attraction. The true show-stopping work on display, however, can be found in the largest of the pyramids and is the world's biggest working hourglass. At just over 17 feet tall and a diameter of 3.3 feet, it contains 1.1 tons of singing sand, which has been sifted to ensure each grain is no more than 5/1000ths of an inch across. The sand is placed in a dome of traditional snow globe design, albeit many times larger than you'll normally see, and continually passes through a nozzle that's just 3/100ths of an inch wide. It's been carefully calibrated to make sure that it takes exactly 1 year for all of the sand to pass through, and on New Year's Eve, it's time to turn it over. This, as you can imagine, involves quite some effort and requires 5 workers to attach straps to it before pulling it into place. Number 11. Disney Snow Globes. Not only is Disney a cultural and entertainment powerhouse, but the company has found ways of using its creations to sell more merchandise than virtually any other company in history. With such committed fans around the world, everything that's released is soon in high demand, and there's always some that decide to collect the whole set. The Disney Snow Globes collection is no different, and with such care put into their design and traditional feeling aesthetic, it's no wonder they've proven to be so popular. You can get one with your favorite characters from just about any of the Disney movies you can think of, from Beauty and the Beast, Lady and the Tramp, and Cinderella, to Aladdin, Snow White, and even all of the Pixar movies. There's something about snow globes that fit perfectly within the mystique and magic that Disney stands for, and it's likely no collection will ever be complete, because there'll always be a new design that's just about to be released. Number 10. Magnetic Hourglass. Typically, you think of an hourglass containing sand that slowly filters through a restricted neck, but a wide range of different materials can be used. One that's become popular recently incorporates magnetic effects to create an unusual look as the particles drop to the lower sphere and arrange themselves. The trick to doing this is to install a magnet in the base, and instead of using normal sand, it's filled with ferrous sand, which is essentially small particles of iron. When the metallic particles interact with the magnet, they form a spherical structure with temporary stalagmites that seemingly ignore the rules of gravity. It's definitely a cool spin on the traditional hourglass, and is something that looks great on a modern design desk, while at the same time teaching you about scientific principles. Number 9. The Eros Snow Globe. The streets of London have a number of statues and monuments that have been there for decades or even longer. During Christmas time in particular, some of the statues become targets for drunken revelers who try to climb up on them, and there's an annual challenge for authorities on how to protect them. One of the most popular is the statue of Eros at Piccadilly Circus, and quite often the young boy's bow is snapped off, causing thousands of dollars worth of damage, and various different solutions have been found to prevent this from happening, such as surrounding it with sandbags, and even constructing a large bird cage around it. In 2013, though, they came up with the best solution of all. They turned the statue into a giant snow globe. With a diameter of 30 feet, the dome was installed with 8 internal fans that ensured the winged boy was continuously surrounded by a flurry of artificial snowflakes. And being made from more than 1.5 tons of heavy-duty PVC, was said to be puncture-proof, something that was vital considering it was surrounding a statue of a boy with a pointed arrow. We're constantly adding more people to the Top 5's production team to bring you all the best content. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on and hit the like button. Number 8. Daniel Arsham's Hourglass. Daniel Arsham is a contemporary artist from New York who's known for combining art with his performance and architecture. So when it was announced that his new exhibition, The Hourglass, would be opening at Atlanta's High Museum of Art in 2017, art lovers from around the world took interest. It was his take on our understanding of history and the passage of time, and focused on creating spaces that blended historical ideas with more modern ones. There was, for an example, a traditional Japanese pagoda and Zen garden that was painted in bright blue and had Pompeii-like human figurine in the building. While there was another room, the purple cave that was decorated with volleyballs and soccer balls, all of which were painted a deep violet color. The main attraction, however, was the final exhibit that was made up of a series of larger hourglasses that were filled with crushed crystals that poured over sculptures. The intent was that, as time passed, the object on the top spheres would be slowly revealed, while those in the lower spheres would gradually obscure from view, all while a young, innocent child's voice is played out describing what's in each dome. Number 7. The Electric Snow Globe. No matter what they contain, there's something old-feeling about snow globes that doesn't always fit with surroundings of every room. But what if you want the relaxing whirl of particles in a more modern setting? An electric snow globe could be what you need. This model that's made by Sound Candy isn't just a snow globe, but it's also fitted with a light display and a Bluetooth speaker as well. Connect it with your phone, and the 2 bass speakers will blast out your favorite tunes at the same time as creating a storm within the globe. In fact, it uses the sound vibrations to stir up the water, so the louder you set the volume to, the more violent the snowstorm will become. For added effect, colored lights are projected into the globe. But if you time things just right, a tornado will form in the water, which sends the snowflakes whirling in all directions. Number 6. Burghley House Hourglass Clock. Historically, hourglasses were one of the only ways people had to tell how much time had passed. But with the advent of clocks and other timekeeping devices, hourglasses have become more of an artwork or sculptural piece in their own right. Nowhere is this so true as at Burghley House, which is a stately home in Lincolnshire in the UK. It was designed to invoke feelings of the family's nautical heritage and is made from stainless steel, bronze, glass, and sand. Installed in 2008, the 6.5-foot tall structure has 12 icons around its pedestal, each representing the passing of an hour, and allude to stories and people from the family's history, such as Lord Burghley, who was one of Queen Elizabeth's first most trusted confidants. There is, too, a mystery to solve with this hourglass. Although the designers have never publicly acknowledged the solution, a spyglass in the base lets you look through and focus on individual icons and images, and they're said to be a cryptic timescale configuration that visitors are challenged to decipher. It can still just be used to tell the time, though. So even if you don't want to be faced with a conundrum, this hourglass is still a wonderful piece of art that you can sit back and enjoy. Number 5. Snow globe lanterns. Perhaps because of old movies or novels, or simply the way that they're designed, there's something about snow globes that means you can't help but associate them with Christmas of old, when families had no choice but to avoid the cold by huddling around the fire indoors and finding objects like these to pass the time with. In an ode to those Dickensian stories, there's a type of snow globe that feels like it's been brought here from centuries ago. The snow-called snow globe lanterns. Instead of being spherical in design, they are instead built inside lanterns, like the ones that would have lined the streets and homes before the introduction of electricity. Of course, with modern technology, you can get ones that are powered, so illuminate the Christmas scene inside and the snow floating around it. And you can even get ones with fans in them, so you don't have to shake them up yourself. It's a clever twist on the classic design, and one that'll sure bring a sense of Christmas past to festivities. Number 4. Timewheel. While you may think of the traditional design when mentioning an hourglass, there are no set rules about how they should be designed or look, so long as they measure the passage of time. And this means some of the most unusual timepieces in the world are technically hourglasses too. One of the most impressive was designed and built by a fabricator called János Herner, and was installed near the Palace of Art in the capital city of Hungary, Budapest. Known as the Timewheel, the 60-ton structure is made from granite, steel, and glass. It was unveiled in 2004 to celebrate Hungary's admission into the European Union and has been a popular exhibit ever since. The sand within it isn't actually sand in the form that you'd expect, and is instead made up of fine glass particles, which flow from the upper chamber to the lower one. This process has been perfectly timed to last an entire year, and when it's midnight on New Year's Eve, there's a ceremony whereby the time wheel is turned over. This involves 4 people pulling on cables, and because it's so heavy, this takes 3/4 of an hour to complete. Number 3. Diamond Christmas Snow Globe. How much do you think a traditional snow globe should cost? With intricate figures, flakes of pretend snow, water, and a glass dome, it should at least be a few dollars, and in some cases $20 or $30, right? In 2015, a company began taking orders for their new design of snow globe, which was made in such a way that they blew those kinds of pricing out of the water and became the most expensive snow globes you could buy, with a price tag of a whopping $5,000. The reason why they're so expensive, however, is because some of the material used in their creation. And if you like snow globes, you'll probably think it's more than worth it. First, no 2 of these globes are the same, because the figurines and scenes inside are custom made for each customer, meaning it could be you and your family frolicking in the snow outside. The next thing that makes them so special is that each one contains 5 0.07 carat diamonds fixed to the inner setting, and a further 5 that are free floating within the snow. This ensures that these snow globes sparkle like no other and are perfect for special occasions. Number 2. Murano Glass Hourglass. The Italian islands of Murano, which are in the Venetian lagoon, have long been associated with exquisite glasswork and attract the best craftsmen from around the world to perfect their skill. This tradition began more than 700 years ago in 1291, when authorities in Venice became concerned about the risks that the furnaces used in glass sculpting posed to the city, so the entire industry was moved offshore. Now, glass pieces from Murano are highly regarded and sought after, and you can find virtually any object you want in any color you want, as long as you're willing to pay the right price. While you may not think of hourglasses as being reliant on traditional glass-blowing techniques, the ones that are created on Murano show just how elegant these objects can be. With swirling colors and perfectly shaped domes, an hourglass from one of the islands is guaranteed to be perfectly balanced and will measure time almost as efficiently as a clock. They're also wonderful pieces of art to have in a room, and even if you don't rely on it for timekeeping, one of these would be perfect as a paperweight or simply something to place next to the window and let the sun's rays shine through. Number 1. The Adler Planetarium Snow Globe. Founded in 1930, the Adler Planetarium in Chicago, Illinois is a public museum with the sole purpose of educating people on astronomy and astrophysics. Designated a national landmark in 1987, the building won countless design awards when it was first opened, and it still stands to this day with the telltale dome set atop the structure. This, of course, provides the perfect canvas on which to project images of stars and space to those sat inside, and can be used to take visitors on a tour around the galaxy. As with all museums, however, the Adler Planetarium has to continually come up with new ideas to attract visitors, and they have to put technology at their disposal to good use. For a month over Christmas every year, they turn the Sky Dome Theater into a giant snow globe. There's no water or artificial snow, but the advanced projection system displays images of Chicago's most recognizable buildings and landmarks being covered in a blanket of snow. It gives people an unprecedented opportunity to see what it would be like inside a snow globe, helps them learn more about the city, and gets everyone in a Christmassy mood just in time for the big day. Subscribe to Top 5s for more and check out some of our other popular videos.